if we took a poll, people would probably say that's the biggest thing holding them back from doing a deal is money. And, you and I can both attest to people listening to this right now. That's literally the easiest part of our business.
Hey everyone, Chris Bounds here. I'm with my friend and colleague and mentor and business partner in some ways as well, Brant Phillips. He's someone that I've followed for a while before we got connected, and then we got connected. I don't even remember exactly how, but it kind of, I guess, became official whenever I knew he had done an Ironman. And I was signing up for an Ironman, Misery Loves Company. And I was like, hey, Brant, how'd you like to do another one? And we did. We had a gentleman's bet that he actually beat me on at the last minute. But since then, we've had a lot of time to collaborate on all kinds of things, real estate and real estate related. It's been fun. How you doing, Brant?
Good, man. And if it makes you feel better, if we were to do an Ironman today, you would probably kick my butt because my body's shut here.
Well, good. That's what I want to do is get you while you're weak.
Yeah. You're doing 40-pound, weighted pull-ups and all that kind of stuff. And I've got torn rotator cuff. I don't even know if I can do a pull-up right now. So I'm pretty sure you can take me today.
I'll spot you.
Yeah.
So Brant, you're a real estate agent, investor, entrepreneur, business coach, speaker, best-selling author, Ironman. You've got like 13 kids, 14, 15. I don't know. Did I leave anything out?
Yeah. No, man, that's it. Serial entrepreneur, real estate entrepreneur. Everything I do is in the real estate world. And only 5 kids right now, but who knows what will happen in the future. But yeah, I'm a busy guy, and I love, love making money. I love business. I love helping people and just building new things. So yeah, man, that's what I'm all about.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that kind of gravitated me towards you and the personal brand that you built was the sincerity of wanting to actually help people. Not that having that bravado and just like the big, like, hey, look at me, I'm the guru. I'm not necessarily saying that that's bad, but although in a lot of cases it is, but that hasn't been your style. You've been very, you've approached this industry, especially the coaching, with humility. And despite your success, you've been very open and willing to give much more than what a lot of folks out there, by and large, a lot of stuff like just free, just helping people. And, but yeah, so why do you do that? Why are you such an open book?
Dude, I'm wired that way. And so, I say that, I tried doing the guru thing. Like I had a coach coaching me for a while when I was, doing a lot of just speaking and talking and with the book stuff. I tried to be the guru guy, and it just didn't, like, it's not me, man. And when I say I'm wired that way, it was kind of funny that just last week I was working with my business coach for a couple of days, and went through we had to go through all these personality tests and profile tests, and we did that with all of our team. And he's like, man, Brant, you are exactly like, he's like, you have the same exact profile as my best friend. He said, except your ego is much lower. So, I took that as a compliment, because I try not to have a lot of ego, man, because, I guess I would say, Chris, I'm kind of that guy where I'm not kind of the guy. I'm that guy who, if I can do it, pretty much anybody can do it. I barely got out of high school and, had no, real estate or, business DNA running through my veins, anything like that. I didn't know what in the heck I wanted to do with my life till I was like early 30s. I'm like, man, I got to figure something out, because this corporate nightmare that I had found myself in was just depressing. I'm like, I don't even know if I want to continue with life. So when I teach people about real estate and I speak about real estate, I think for me, it's because I'm coming from that place where, it wasn't, the end of the world. It wasn't the darkest, most desperate situation as anybody's ever had. But for me, it was pretty sad. And so I know there's people like me that desire more, want to do more, want to, control their time and their freedom and just wake up. Like I just wanted to wake up and enjoy what I was doing. I remember when I got into real estate, I didn't have these big, huge, lofty goals of, with money and wealth creation. I did have goals. My number one goal when I got into real estate is just I wanted to control my time and enjoy what I was doing. Like that was it. So I think whenever, I get the opportunity to speak like right now and at your summit, I think I'm kind of speaking to myself, meaning my old self, and people that, maybe in a similar situation where they've got a dream, they've got the drive, they just don't know how, or they're battling with, limiting mindsets and just, let's just face it, man, like the life is hard, and starting and launching a successful business is hard. 8, 9 out of 10 businesses or whatever it is ultimately fail. It's because it's hard. But I also believe that whenever you have that, that dream and that drive, like you're truly committed to it, when you put together the right map, right? When you have a business model that's proven to work, like McDonald's, versus going out and starting your own burger shop around the corner that's going to fail, versus a McDonald's type of map. And then you kind of add in some accountability, some coaching, the right environment of other like-minded people. That's the formula for success. So, that's who I'm speaking to when I get the opportunity to speak, are people who are like myself. And it's just, I don't know. I wish everyone would have kind of like that go-giver type of attitude where you can't outgive, right? The more and more and more you give, the more you help. I don't care if you give your secrets. I don't care if you share something and someone goes out and gets a deal that could have been yours. That's happened to me so many times where my students have gotten deals that I couldn't have got. I'm like, I think that cost me money coaching them, and that's okay because it comes back around. One thing like talking about like mentoring or coaching or just helping people is whenever, and you've done this too. It's like, we could have a crush or flip deal, make 40, 50 grand on a flip. It's awesome. It's great, but I don't like celebrators. Like there's no emotional high. It's like, man, that looks good on the P&L. That was a good one. But whenever I have like a student go out, and like right now I'm funding 2 deals for one of my agents, right? He just finished his first flip, made like close to 40K in his first flip. We're funding his other 2 deals, like literally funding today. To me, whenever I got the text messages in here, whenever he closed on that deal, I was like, dude, that is so awesome. It's so exciting. And it really does, man. It becomes this emotional thing where it's a lot more fun to see people that you've trained and mentored create success in your own. It's kind of like, when kids take your kids have a win, or they take the training wheels off the bike and stuff like that.
Yeah, as that impact that you just made, that's lasting. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is a cornerstone in their life, regardless of whatever extent they take that. Like that's a moment that they're never going to forget. No one ever forgets their first deal. Yep. Or the first deal that you do with a partner or a mentor. Mm-hmm. Like you just don't forget those things. And it very well could be that completely changes their trajectory in life and goals for the better. Mm-hmm. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And sometimes people come into this, like talking about agents. So I meet a lot of agents who want to invest, and maybe they kick some tires, and maybe they do a deal or two. And a lot of times they don't. They're like, man, Brant, I don't know. The risk threshold isn't there, whatever it may be. But because I've invested in them and they have that knowledge base, I've put myself in a pretty good position where they'll bring those deals to me, and then I can go out and do what I do and send them back to them for the listing. So there's just so many, win-win type of opportunities that come about. I can't tell you how many, agents and investors, just other people in the last 3 to 6 months who've sent us mobile home park deals and RV park deals, because they know I'm doing that. That's not something they want to take down, but they're sending them to us, and I'm absolutely going to compensate them for it. But, you know, that's the other thing. It's like once you teaching and helping, like the summit that you're doing, we're just planting a bunch of seeds. That's really what it's doing, right? We're giving this information, we're helping people, we're teaching people, no strings attached. And, you know, who knows what's going to sprout from it. So maybe 3 months, 6 months, 2 or 3 years, you know, something may sprout. Where I've got a mobile home park deal right now that we're working on in North Texas that came from one of my students from years ago. We haven't talked in the longest time, and he reached out. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's Gary Vaynerchuk mentioned something about the commodity, or that the internet is basically commoditizing everything, and information is one of those things where it's all free. So what used to be held and charged at a high premium through the middlemen or the gurus or what have you is now being distributed at scale worldwide for free. And then the end consumer can then judge the value of the content. And of course, that's going to affect their personal brand. So it seems like that's what you've done. You probably didn't realize you were doing it, or maybe you did. And that's part of the method to the madness that we have is, hey, look, let's just give so much value that maybe folks would want to work with us. Maybe they'll send deals to us. Maybe they want to be private lenders to some of the deals. Maybe they introduce someone. Maybe nothing. Maybe we're just friends and have a beer sometime. But and then agents can do the same thing within their realm. Like if you're focused on just agent production, you become the neighborhood go-to where you know exactly, and you're doing like Facebook Live videos of, I don't know, a new school opening or local community groups in your neighborhood, or new parks, and you become that just value-driven, value-giving expert that who doesn't want to work with that person, right? Who doesn't want to work with that person?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the formula. That's the formula.
Yeah. Give with value, lead with value. So you've used more than $40 million in private money to buy over 300 single family homes and mobile home parks. Lots of real estate, right?
Yeah. A lot of real estate.
All right. So raising private money. And you mentioned you're helping a couple of students out, or at least one of your students right now with raising private money. So that is the number one objective, or a number one objection that agents usually have to, this is why I'm not investing. Like, I'm not investing because I don't have the money. I don't have the cash, or I don't know where to get the cash. Now, for us, I mean, we know what we know. That's actually the easiest thing. That's not even probably in the top 5 reasons that might hold us back from any particular deal. But from the outside looking in, like, it's scary. What makes that so scary, and what can agents do to maybe overcome or at least get educated on their options with raising money to get their first deal?
Well, it starts right there with the education part. So that, you know, if we took a poll, people would probably say that's the biggest thing holding them back from doing a deal is money. And, you know, you and I can both attest to people listening to this right now. That's literally the easiest part of our business, right? It's like literally the only issue that I have with private money and capital is that we've got a backlog of it where we're trying to buy more real estate to put it to work. Like, and that's really what has transpired in my business, coming from, you know, it's not to brag or to boast, because I started where it's like, oh my God, I don't think anyone will loan to me. What do I know? I don't have much money in the bank, no money when I got started, you know, and I had all these I'm not good enough questions, or, you know, man, what if I can't do this? How can I do this? I'll never be able to do this. You know, that's what I think people think. So the education part is critical. So people have all this fear and doubt and uncertainty about their ability to raise money. But I like to say that, you know, when you increase, you know, education and experience, when you increase, you know, that education experience, your fear will subside. So whenever you start getting information about how the process works, and then even understanding, I don't want to say the psychology, but yeah, it, I don't know what else to say though. It's like when you start understanding why people trust people with their money and why they don't, then it's not that hard to break it down. You know, private lenders are attracted to two things: good deals and trustworthy people. Good deals and trustworthy people. 100%. The trustworthy people part of the equation is the most important thing. Okay. So what you have to understand is, you know, whether you're selling cars, you know, or real estate or raising money or whatever it is a sales process, and nobody likes to be sold. Okay. Nobody likes to be sold. And so that's the first thing. It's kind of relieve some tension or stress for people watching this, thinking that they've got to go out and do all these sales calls and really convince or trick somebody into lending with them. That's not what you do. And I knew that when I started, you know, raising money. Is like, I'm not that guy. I'm never going to be that guy. So how can I still accomplish my goal? And it really came down to just educating lenders, because I'm 100, you know, percent into real estate. Like I believe wholeheartedly in real estate and how great it is, how it's how with the security that it provides, with the cash flow that it provides, with the wealth that it creates, with the families that it helps, with how it, you know, helps our communities, all these types of things. Like I love not only real estate as investment, just the feel good side of the investments, of what it is and what it does. And what I started doing was, well, one, and I'll tell you that I made a lot of calls. I set as many appointments as I can just to talk and connect with people about potential lenders. So that is kind of step one, where you are going to have to take some action. You're going to have to risk something. It's called your ego. You're going to have to be risk being told no. You know, you're going to risk people asking you questions that you don't know the answer to. And that's actually how you learn. So that's a good thing. And so that's what I did. I started putting myself in these situations that was scary to me. And, but when I got in those situations, I never, you know, sold anybody. I just educated people. I would ask them open-ended questions like, hey, you know, what do you think about real estate? What do you know about real estate investing? You know, what are your investment goals? What are your fears? You know, if you were to do something like this. And I just started educating people, answering questions, and figuring out what their goals were, helping them understand what my business was, and seeing if there was that win-win that could be struck. And I would just answer questions, and there was never any pressure. And so the more that you can just lead with value, you'll find that people are going to gravitate towards you. And now you mentioned, you know, with the internet and just where we are today, I you know, began, you know, shooting, you know, vlogs and videos to educate people, and writing some blogs about the process, and using YouTube. And I later went on to write a book as just a way to make it a little bit easier for me, and to scale it where, you know, I could just send people my book, or they could go buy my book and read it and reach out to me if they were interested. But even my book, you know, if you read my book, it's not a sales pitch for anybody to invest with me. It's just a general kind of private lending 101. Here's what you need to do. Here's how you secure, you know, an investment. Here's how you analyze a borrower. I'm telling them, you know, this is how you would analyze me or analyze another borrower. Here's how you analyze the deal. Here's how you safeguard yourself. Here's how you set your interest rates. And so I just spill the beans, you know, just like open up everything I know, and share. And that's why, you know, I think, you know, I've done really well with raising money. It's just taking that approach, and anybody can do that. The last thing you want to do is think that you need to sell anybody or anything like that. Look, real estate, when you start going back to what you said, you know, just getting educated, when you start comparing, you know, real estate to Wall Street and the stock market, it's not apples to apples. Like it totally separate things. And the value add the value add that we have with, above market rates of return, secured by real estate. There's equities, a lot of times substantial equity in the property. Then you get into the families that we're impacting. You get into the, like kind of the rejuvenation, the investment into our community with contractors, local trades, lumber stores, all that type of stuff. There's such a feel good story to it, and the rates of return are exceptional to our private lenders, who honestly, what they're also seeking is just some certainty. If they've got their money in some type of stock or some other type of high risk investment, there's a lot of uncertainty. So especially in times like now, where we're going through an election, we're going through COVID, we're going through all this stuff, people, they want to hold on to something firm, and real estate does that. So if you can just kind of tell that story and communicate that, you're going to find like you can just become a private money magnet, where people are going to want to come to you, and they're going to ask you. Where we, have grown to the point where we've got an application process that we send our lenders to, where they need to apply, and we take them through a process, just because there's so many people out there. And like, once again, I'm not saying this to brag or to boast. I'm telling you, and this was a huge mind shift thing for me years ago, when I had that mindset still of like, man, felt like a beggar and a borrower. Man, I hope, this lender will lend to me. I really need them. And where the aha moment for me was, this was in late 2010. And this is one of my previous partners, where I formed some small partnerships in 2008. We were buying single family rentals. One of my partners had pulled out, I won't say a substantial amount of money, but a good chunk, of her nest egg and her retirement. She pulled it out in the beginning of 2008 to invest with me. And around the end of 2010, and at this point in time, I was raising money and I was doing okay. But like I said, I was lacking confidence when I was talking to my lenders. And she called me one day to talk about one of our rental properties, just a general question about something. And it was kind of like an, oh, by the way thing. And she was like, oh, Brant, oh, by the way, she was like, I was looking at, my retirement and this and that. She was on the verge of retiring. And she said, if I hadn't have pulled out the money that I pulled out to invest with you, she said, I would have been devastated. I would not even be thinking about retirement for, I don't know how many years now. She's like, so I just want to thank you for reaching out to me and, giving me this opportunity. And it just hit me like that, where, I'm like, I'm playing so small, and I've got this kind of loser mentality, honestly, like this, beggar mentality. Like, I'm hoping and praying that people invest with me. And it changed, not in a big ego way, just in a big, like, man, like, I need to go buy more real estate. I need to help more people, because there's people who've pulled their money out of the stock market. They've got money sitting in self-directed IRAs, and they have uncertainty, and I can provide them, right, what they want: certainty, peace of mind. They know each and every month that 8% or whatever they're lending at is going to come in each and every month. It's secured by real estate. The property's insured, all that kind of stuff. That's where the game changed for me. I was like, I need to go buy more real estate, help more people. And I shift to the abundance mentality, where no, I'm not limited on money on any deal. And Chris, that's where it changed for me, where the question of, if I can get this deal funded, just went away. And I know that is a big problem. Maybe the biggest problem that new investors and investor agents face is like, I don't know if I could get the funding. And you need to focus on finding really good deals. If you do that private money law of attraction, or that's it, private money attracted to good deals and trustworthy people. If you can just communicate, how the process works, and be an honest, ethical person, that's really it.
Yeah, I love it. A couple of points I want to highlight there is, one, by establishing these relationships, you're basically building both of your retirement and your wealth at the same time. I mean, you're running your business, so obviously that's paramount, but there's mutual interest in the success of your private lender because you want them to do well, because you want to keep their money working, and that directly impacts their life, their family, their financial future, and you get to see that in real time to some degree. You don't get that with stocks. I mean, I guess if it was like your brother-in-law's company, maybe, but that's not the situation for the vast majority of folks. Like you just don't get to see that. And then the other point was you to establish these relationships, you've been using like the one thing that I get from Stephen Covey, and that's seek first to understand and then to be understood. Whereas most folks, maybe it's just entrepreneurialism and our sales hat gets in the way, but they flip it. It's seek first to understand me, and then I'll try to understand you. And that's a recipe for disaster 9.9 times out of 10. Just ask open-ended questions, get to understand them, their needs, their wants, their desires, their goals, their concerns, and then their concerns again, and then even again, like and then once you get a full understanding of them, I mean, you might learn that it's actually not a good fit during that process, and save both of yourselves a lot of time, but you actually may find some good synergies in how you can help each other out. So your company was recognized by Inc. magazine, top 5,000 fastest growing companies in America. You've done a lot of flips, and now you're out there buying mobile home parks. How do you jump from single family to buying mobile home parks? Not even just in your backyard, in other states.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're still buying single family, but what do we do as entrepreneurs? Like the greatest entrepreneurs in the world solve the greatest problems, right? They add the most value. They're able to receive the most value. So the biggest problem in America, in terms of real estate, is affordable housing. That's it. What better solution is there rather than mobile homes? That that's as simple as an answer as I can give you, because there are, we keep hearing about this, the separation, right, between the rich and the poor, and the middle class is going away, and most of them are going to the lower end of the spectrum. And cost of housing, cost of construction, it's going up, it's going through the roof. And people are still, there's so many people that are living, basically in poverty, and, trying to survive on $20,000-$30,000 a year, maybe with 2 or 3 kids. How do you do that? How do you do that? You can't even afford, these families can't even afford apartments, 2 or 3 bedroom apartments, $1,200, $1,500, $1,800 a month, in major cities. It's not affordable for these people. That's as much as they make in a month. So, started looking at the mobile home park model several years ago. A friend of mine was into it, and I just, thought he was redneck, to be honest with you. I'm a little bit of a redneck myself. So I was like, yeah, maybe something to it, but I'm just too busy. And, then I learned about what Warren Buffett, how he's invested in the space previously in parks, now with Clayton Homes. He's also financing these homes with 21st century mortgage. Learn about Sam Zell being the #1 mobile home park owner in the United States, and that he's never sold one of his mobile home parks, and he owns like 150,000 lots. Whenever I learned about that, honestly, the Sam Zell thing, I was like, all right, I just got to try this thing. Let me just go. I'm very type A. And so I just dove into it, but I did a lot of research, did my data, and that's what it is. I mean, it's affordable housing. It's affordable housing. It's satisfying a need where, a lot of people own their mobile homes outright. If they own, it's like 70-80% people own their mobile homes. So now their housing costs may come down to just paying lot rent, $300, $400, $500 a month. People can afford that, right? People can afford that. And that's what it is. And we're also selling homes, and we're doing some owner financing on homes. But, I don't think any of our residents, even if they're paying, have financed a home from us and paying lot rent, I don't think anybody's paying more than $1,000 a month. Matter of fact, I can guarantee that they're not. And what are they getting for that? They're not squashed in some kind of apartment. A lot of times these are 1,800 square foot homes, and they've got some space too. Like we've got some, one property that's very unique, like they're 1/2 acre lots. So they've got a huge yard and green space and all that kind of stuff. And they've done a lot of, I don't know how much we want to go into mobile home parks, but they've done a lot of polls, and people are happier living in mobile home parks in mobile homes than they are in apartments. It's because they've got that green space. They're not sharing a wall or ceilings with people. And yeah, I went down the rabbit hole. I guess it hasn't been quite 2 years, but I'm very happy that we've went down this path.
I really like it. You hit the nail on the head with affordable housing. That was a really big issue all across America, especially in the metro areas of the U.S. before COVID. Yeah. After COVID, it's like gone up by at least 30%. Just taking the account that the inventory has dropped by 30%. But it's probably more than that, because it's like now we have inventory down 30%, but prices have gone up 10 to 20%. It's just insane. So, hey, I'd love to get that 2.5% interest rate, but I can't afford the darn house.
Yeah. And you've got like families, like multiple families living together in a house. And I met with my business partner this morning on a Zoom. She's up in East Texas. We've got a couple properties up there, parks, and she's like, hey, I've got good news. So we've still got a few vacant lots at this one property, this park. And she's like, I met so-and-so, and she just bought a home and she wants to move into our park. And I was like, awesome. And we're in the process of remodeling a home there that someone moved out of to sell. And she's like, and her daughter is going to buy that home. She's going to pay the down payment and her daughter's going to move in. So now, they're paying whatever it is for these two homes, but they've each got their own home. Her daughter has a couple of kids, so they could probably share a single family home, or they can each have their own home, their own space. So that's kind of case in point of that story. Like, what would you prefer? Like, houses are nice, but not if you're, cramped and you're 3 people in a bedroom or something like that. It's just not feasible.
Yeah, and mobile homes have come a long way since, like, I grew up in the sticks in Central Texas. A lot of my friends, we have mobile home parks all around us, and I've never lived in one, but I have stayed in them. We had friends that I was in school with in mobile homes, and the quality of construction, and then the neighborhoods, and then also the financing options attached to mobile homes or available to mobile home park or mobile homeowners is just night and day difference than they were 10, 20, 30 years ago. Like, it's just, it's a totally different game. And I'm glad a lot of players like Sam Zell and Warren Buffett have kind of pushed that agenda, because it's allowed local operators like you to really get out there and make an impact in your neighborhood and the neighborhoods that you're investing in, to maybe take older neighborhoods and older parks and, make them nicer, make them more appealing, or develop new ones, which unfortunately, because of government regulations, is harder to do from what I understand, but there's still some opportunity.
There's workarounds to that. We're working on it right now.
All right. I've been fascinated with mobile home parks. The affordable housing has been kind of a staple in our business on the single family residence side, but mobile home park investing or I guess affordable multifamily has been interesting. But ever since you got into mobile home parks, I've deeply thought on multiple occasions, like, man, should I give Brant some competition? Collaboration.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Over the next 5 to 10 years, how are you seeing, this is kind of the last question I have on mobile home parks and we'll wrap things up, but over the next 5 to 10 years, how are you seeing mobile home parks, both on the micro level, like what you're doing, but also on the macro level, just in general, over the next 5 to 10 years? How do you see that subsect of housing playing out? Like, are we going to see, so right now, because of pricing, low inventory, and then financial restrictions, and of course the job market plays into this, and you just may not be able to qualify for that $350,000 mortgage because of DTI or because you went on forbearance. But so how do you see the impact of all of that is going to have on the mobile home park subsect of the housing market over the next 5-10 years?
Well, I've never been one of those guys who tries to, project out like that, but I know the, affordable housing problem is not going to go away. I know that in 2020, that this was like a banner year for the manufactured home industry. And they're thinking 2021 is going to be, there's even more demand. Some of the stigma, not all the stigma of living in a mobile home is gone, but a lot of it is because of quality of construction and stuff like that. So the industry though has some challenges. It has some challenges where the number of parks are decreasing each and every year because they're being sold so they can build a Home Depot or whatever it is. Just commercial development. Cities for the most part are not issuing permits because partly the stigma, but that's not really the real reason. The real reason is they don't generate a lot of tax income. If you really do the math, they're probably losing money for mobile home parks because if there's a lot of kids and cost of education, stuff like that. So the cities aren't authorizing those permits. So in terms of actual parks, probably going away to a certain extent. Now, what I was saying, there's a workaround. So we started looking at this a while back. And if you really do the math, it's debatable on how profitable a park development is. I won't get into all that right now, but depending on your cost of your dirt and infilling homes and stuff like that, it's very, very capital intensive. Versus when you compare that to buying a park that's there and you're just going to do road work repairs or infrastructure, whatever. But what we're working on is we're under contract right now on 100 acres just outside of Houston that we're developing into an affordable housing community. And that's what we've been really naming the parks that we've bought. We're kind of getting away from mobile home park, trailer park. I know that's what people call them. We're branding them affordable housing communities and making them feel like a community, not like a park. And so that's what we're working on is ideally, I'll be honest, Chris, like I prefer, I'll just say it like this. I prefer to work with owners rather than renters. Okay. And I got a lot of rental properties. I've had a lot over the years, but there's a different mindset tip with ownership and being a renter. And so ideally, like who I enjoy working the most with is, and who I like helping and serving are owners. So what we're working on is developing this 100-acre affordable housing community. And so we're going to be, platting it up and letting people not only own the home, but own the land. But it's going to be a community of manufactured homes, single and double wide homes on a 0.5 to 1 acre home sites with, concrete streets and all the amenities of a typical neighborhood. But it's going to be a manufactured home. And that's something, that's a product that we can provide for in the $175,000 range. What used to be where you could buy a home for that, and you can't these days, a new home. And they're going to get a 0.5 acre to 1 acre of land versus being, packed into a subdivision paying $250,000, $300,000. And so that's where one possible workaround is, and I think though, I think we may see a change in cities and counties allowing parks as the problem continues to worsen. There may be, I suspect there'll be some government influence as well coming in to encourage more of them, because it solves the problem.
Yeah, there's no other workaround on solving the problem unless you're
Yeah.
just building multifamily units en masse. And I mean, that creates other issues. And
Yeah.
in some circumstances, it's not financially the most viable option as you get away from more metro areas.
Yeah.
All right. So this has been fun. Talked about private money, talked about mobile home parks, talked about all the crazy ventures we've done, from Ironmans to, we didn't even get into your cage matches and police officer.
Yeah.
All the other craziness. So we've got the Invested Agent Summit coming up. Looking forward to having you there. So how can folks reach out to you or connect with you if I don't know if you got any questions, or if they've got a mobile home park they're looking to sell?
Yeah, definitely. Send the mobile home park deals. There's big assignment fees on those guys, or bird dog fees. If you see some old nasty old parks or whatever, send them to me. We'll definitely put them on our pipeline. We'll work those leads and definitely compensate you if we close them. Yeah, just go to brantphillips.com. That's the easiest thing. You can get my information on there and reach out and connect. That's the easiest way.
Awesome. All right. I look forward to talking with you here again soon. And yeah, thanks again, man.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this interview with Brant Phillips, please click the like button and comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. Be sure to subscribe. If you haven't joined the Invested Agent Summit, you can RSVP now at investedagents.com/summit. Absolutely free. We'll give you a free copy of his private lender playbook. Look forward to seeing you there.